My friends, I ask you, what is it that troubles your heart? What is it that keeps you awake at night, searching for answers? You have prayed, you have pleaded, and still you worry. But today I tell you this: God is not asking you to worry. He is asking you to trust. Worry is a thief. It robs you of peace, it drains your energy, and it blinds you to the truth that already exists within you. When you worry, you are holding on to a reality that no longer serves you. You are gripping tightly to fear, as if by doing so you can control the outcome. But worry is not control. It is resistance. It is the refusal to let go and allow divine order to unfold in your life. The more you worry, the more you affirm that you do not trust. And where there is no trust, there is no space for miracles. Imagine for a moment a child who is held in the arms of a loving parent. That child does not question whether they will be fed, clothed, or protected. They rest in complete assurance that their needs will be met. This is the trust you are called to have. You are not alone in this world, left to struggle on your own. You are held in the arms of something far greater, far wiser, and far more powerful than your limited understanding. But unlike the child, you allow fear to enter. And that fear creates distance between you and the infinite source of all solutions. When you worry, you are placing your faith in doubt. You are giving life to your fears instead of your faith. Every moment you spend worrying is a moment you are affirming that something is wrong, that something is missing, that something is broken. But what if nothing is wrong? What if everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if you cannot yet see the full picture? What if the very thing you fear is the gateway to the blessing you have been waiting for? The mind cannot comprehend the vast intelligence that governs this universe. Yet it insists on controlling what it was never meant to control. Trust is not passive. It is an active state of being. It requires you to step beyond what your senses tell you and embrace what your heart already knows. It is easy to trust when everything is going well, but the real test comes when circumstances appear to be against you. Do you still trust when the answers do not come immediately? Do you still believe when the path is unclear? Or do you let fear take hold, dragging you back into the endless cycle of doubt? Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state. If you live in a constant state of worry, you will continue to see more reasons to worry. The problems will multiply not because they are real, but because you are feeding them with your energy. But the moment you shift into trust, the moment you release your need to control and instead surrender to the flow of divine order, the weight begins to lift. You start to see solutions where there once were none. The doors that seemed closed suddenly swing open, not because the world changed, but because you did. Worry binds you to a limited reality. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of fear and frustration. It convinces you that you must fight, struggle, and suffer to reach what is already yours. But faith liberates you. It lifts you above the chaos and allows you to see from a higher perspective. When you truly trust, you understand that you are never lacking. You are never forsaken. Every delay, every obstacle, every unanswered question is simply leading you to where you are meant to be. But you cannot reach that place if you refuse to let go of the very thing holding you back: fear. Think about all the times in your life when you worried over something, only to later realize that it was unnecessary. How many nights did you lose sleep over a problem that eventually solved itself? How much energy did you waste imagining worst-case scenarios that never happened? The mind loves to dwell in fear, always looking for something to fix, something to protect itself from. But this is an illusion. The moment you decide to trust, you step out of the illusion and into the truth. Faith is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing a higher reality. It is about knowing deep within that you are taken care of, that everything is unfolding for your good, even when it doesn't seem like it. Worry will tell you to prepare for the worst, but faith tells you to expect the best. Worry will keep you trapped in indecision, but faith will move you forward with confidence. The choice is always yours. You can live in fear or you can live in trust, but you cannot do both. The moment you shift from worry to trust, your entire world begins to change. You feel lighter, freer, more at peace. The problems that once seemed insurmountable start to dissolve, not because they magically disappear, but because you no longer give them power. You recognize that you were never alone in your struggles. The answers were always there, waiting for you to stop fighting and start listening. Trust is the key that unlocks the door to everything you have been seeking. It is not just an idea, it is a way of life. It is the understanding that the universe is always working in your favor, even when you cannot see it. It is the courage to let go of control and allow divine wisdom to lead you. Worry will keep you stuck in the same place, repeating the same patterns, feeling the same frustrations. But trust will set you free. Your inner state is the foundation upon which your entire reality is built. Everything you experience, everything you see, everything that unfolds in your life is a direct reflection of what you hold within. If your heart is filled with fear, your world will be one of obstacles. If your mind is consumed with doubt, you will be met with uncertainty at every turn. But when your soul is anchored in faith, when your thoughts are aligned with confidence and trust, the world responds in kind. Reality is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The circumstances you face are not random occurrences, but the mirror of the energy you carry inside. Consider how two people can walk through the same storm and yet have completely different experiences. One sees disaster while the other sees an opportunity for growth. One panics while the other remains calm and collected. What makes the difference? It is not the external event itself, but the state of mind they bring into it. You are never at the mercy of what happens outside of you. You are only at the mercy of what you allow to live within you. The moment you shift your inner world, the outer world must adjust accordingly. Every thought you hold, every belief you entertain, every emotion you dwell in is shaping the life you live. If you continuously dwell on thoughts of lack, you will see scarcity wherever you go. If you focus on all the ways things can go wrong, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of problems. But when you shift your focus to abundance, to possibility, to certainty, your reality begins to transform. The mind is a powerful tool, but it must be directed with intention. Left unchecked, it will gravitate toward fear, but when guided with purpose, it becomes the architect of a life filled with joy and fulfillment. It is not enough to simply wish for a better life. You must embody it from within. If you want peace, you must cultivate peace within yourself before it can manifest in your world. If you desire success, you must first see yourself as successful, not someday in the future, but right now. The world does not respond to what you ask for with words. It responds to what you assume to be true in your heart. Every great change begins with a shift in perception. When you change the way you see yourself, you change what is possible for you. People often believe that they must wait for circumstances to change before they can feel different, but this is an illusion. You do not wait for the world to give you peace before you feel peaceful. You find peace within, and then the world reflects it back to you. You do not wait for external success before you feel worthy. You embrace your worth, and success follows. The power has never been outside of you, it has always been within. And the moment you recognize this, you reclaim control over your life. The reason so many remain stuck is that they continue to react to life instead of creating it. They look at their problems and assume they are powerless against them. They look at the difficulties in their lives and accept them as unchangeable facts. But nothing is fixed, everything is in motion, and everything is responding to you. The energy you bring into a situation determines how it unfolds. If you meet life with resistance, you will feel stuck. If you meet it with faith, the way will be made clear. The shift is not external, it is internal. You must guard your inner state with unwavering commitment. The world will always provide reasons to doubt, to fear, to give in to worry, but you must stand firm in your truth. You must decide what you will allow into your mind and what you will reject. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every emotion needs to be entertained. You have the power to choose which beliefs you accept and which ones you discard. The reality you experience is not a matter of fate. It is a matter of choice. If you truly understood how much your inner state influences your world, you would never again allow negativity to take hold. You would never let fear dictate your decisions, and you would never give power to doubts that do not serve you. You would wake up each day knowing that you hold the key to everything you desire, not in the hands of someone else, not in the circumstances around you, but within yourself. The way you see the world is shaping the world you see. Think back to the moments in your life when everything seemed to align perfectly, when things just fell into place effortlessly. Those were not coincidences. They were reflections of a state of being that was in harmony with what you wanted. You were not second guessing, you were not doubting, you were simply allowing. And in that state of allowing, everything unfolded with ease. That same alignment is always available to you, but you must choose it. You must step into it deliberately and consistently. Your greatest power lies in your ability to master your inner state. The outside world will always shift and change, but the one thing you can always control is how you show up in it. When you choose faith over fear, when you choose confidence over doubt, when you choose to see possibilities instead of limitations, the universe has no choice but to align with you. Your inner world is not just shaping your reality, it is creating it. To assume it is already done is to step into the certainty that what you desire is already yours. It is not about hoping or wishing, it is about knowing. When you assume something is already done, you no longer act as if you are waiting for it. You no longer wonder when it will happen or if it is possible. Instead, you walk, talk, and think from the state of already having it. This is the key that unlocks everything, the shift that moves mountains, the transformation that changes your reality before your eyes. It is not the external world that must change first. It is you. And the moment you align yourself with the state of already having what you seek, the world has no choice but to conform. Most people live in a state of wanting, and as a result, they continue to experience lack. They pray for something and then immediately contradict their prayer with doubt. They ask for success but dwell on failure. They desire love but focus on loneliness. They dream of abundance but live in the mindset of scarcity. And then they wonder why their circumstances do not change. The truth is, you do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. If you see yourself as lacking, the world will reflect that back to you. But the moment you shift into the feeling of already having, everything begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Think of the times in your life when things seemed to flow effortlessly, when you barely had to try, yet everything worked out. That was not an accident, that was alignment. In those moments, you were not doubting, not worrying, not questioning, you were simply being. You had assumed the state of already having, even if you did not consciously realize it. And because you embodied that state, the universe responded accordingly. This is the key to all creation. What you assume to be true, what you accept as your reality within, must manifest in the world around you. You do not need to see physical evidence before you believe. That is the mistake most people make. They wait for proof before they have faith, but true creation works in the opposite way. You must first believe, you must first assume, and then the evidence appears. The world is a mirror, always reflecting back the assumptions you hold within. If you expect difficulty, you will find it. If you expect ease, things will unfold effortlessly. If you expect delay, you will wait forever. But the moment you assume it is already done, the path clears. The obstacles dissolve, and the outcome is set in motion. This is not about forcing things to happen. It is not about chasing or struggling. It is about stepping into the knowing that it is already yours. When you truly believe something is done, your entire energy shifts. Your actions change, your words change, your thoughts change. You carry yourself differently. You no longer ask, when will it come? Because you already know it is here. You do not second guess. You do not worry. You do not stress. You move with confidence, certainty, and peace. This is the state of assumption, and it is the most powerful state you can embody. Many believe that they must work harder to achieve their desires, that they must struggle and fight against obstacles. But the real work is internal. The real work is assuming the state of already having. When you align yourself with the reality you desire, you do not need to force things. They unfold naturally. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People align in your favor. Circumstances shift without struggle. This is not luck. This is the law of assumption in motion. The world bends to the energy you carry. And when you assume the best is what you receive. Doubt is the only thing that delays your manifestation. Every time you assume something is already done, but then entertain thoughts of fear or uncertainty, you push it away. You create resistance where there should be flow. This is why faith is so crucial. Faith is not hoping, it is knowing. It is stepping into the certainty that what you desire has already taken form, even if you cannot yet see it with your physical eyes. When you hold that assumption unwaveringly, reality must conform. The mind will try to convince you otherwise. It will present logic, facts, past experiences, all the reasons why things cannot change. But the mind is not the master, you are. You must train yourself to hold the assumption despite what the physical world appears to be. The current reality is simply a reflection of past assumptions, nothing more. It is not permanent, it is not fixed, and it is not a limitation. The moment you assume differently, the moment you step into the state of already having, the old must dissolve, and the new must take its place. This is why the most successful people in the world are not always the smartest, the most talented, or the most qualified. They are the ones who assume their success is inevitable. They do not question whether they will succeed. They assume they already have. They do not hope for greatness, they embody it. They do not wait for external validation, they validate themselves. And because they hold this assumption unwaveringly, their world shifts to match it. You must do the same. Assume it is already done. Walk in the knowing that what you desire is not coming, it is here. Live from the state of already having, not from the state of waiting. Stop looking for evidence and start being the evidence. The moment you make this shift, the world has no choice but to follow. Faith is the key that unlocks the power of God in your life, while fear is the very thing that blocks it. Faith is believing in what you cannot yet see, trusting in what has not yet appeared, and knowing that God is working behind the scenes even when everything around you suggests otherwise. Fear, on the other hand, is a focus on what could go wrong, an expectation of failure, and a constant dwelling on obstacles rather than possibilities. When you operate in faith, you align yourself with God's divine plan, but when you give in to fear, you distance yourself from His promises. Faith is an open door, while fear is a locked gate, keeping you trapped in limitations that were never meant to define you. Many people pray with their lips but doubt in their hearts. They ask God for blessings but secretly believe that their situation is hopeless. They cry out for change but continue to dwell on past disappointments. Faith is not simply about asking, it is about receiving before the evidence appears. It is about speaking life into situations that seem dead, standing firm when the storm is raging, and believing that God is making a way even when every road seems blocked. When faith becomes the foundation of your thoughts, words, and actions, you create an atmosphere for miracles. God does not respond to fear, He responds to faith. The Bible is filled with moments where God's power was activated the moment someone dared to believe beyond what they could see. When the woman with the issue of blood reached out and touched Jesus' garment, she was healed not because of the physical touch alone, but because of the faith behind it. Jesus himself said, "Your faith has made you well." It was not her effort, not her struggle, not her fear of remaining sick. It was her unwavering belief that God's power could restore her. If she had let fear control her, she would have never taken that step, and her healing would have never manifested. Fear paralyzes while faith moves. Fear tells you to retreat while faith tells you to step forward. Fear whispers that things will never change, while faith declares that God is already working it out. The moment you choose faith over fear, you step into divine favor. Fear makes you hesitate, keeps you stuck, and convinces you to settle for less than what God has planned for you. But faith pushes you toward the extraordinary, takes you beyond human reasoning, and lifts you into the supernatural realm where God operates. Your mind is constantly at war between faith and fear. One is fueled by trust in God, the other by doubt and anxiety. The choice is yours, but you cannot walk in both at the same time. You cannot believe that God is your provider while worrying about how your needs will be met. You cannot claim that He is your healer while constantly dwelling on sickness. You cannot say you trust Him while allowing fear to dictate your decisions. Faith and fear cannot coexist because one cancels out the other. If you want to see God's power activated in your life, you must make the decision to feed your faith and starve your fear. Faith requires action. It is not enough to say you believe, you must demonstrate that belief through your choices. Noah built the ark before the rain started falling. Abraham left his homeland before knowing where God would lead him. Peter stepped onto the water before knowing if he would sink or stand. Their faith activated the miraculous, and their actions proved their trust in God's word. When you act in faith, you send a message to heaven that you are ready to receive. God honors those who trust Him enough to move forward before the evidence is visible. Doubt and fear are tools of the enemy designed to keep you from experiencing God's power. The moment you start believing, fear will try to creep in and convince you that you are wasting your time. It will remind you of past failures, highlight your weaknesses, and make you question if God is truly with you. But you must stand firm and refuse to let fear win. The enemy knows that once you step into faith, you become unstoppable. That is why fear attacks right before a breakthrough. If you give in to it, you delay what God has already prepared for you. The greatest victories in life are won by those who refuse to let fear dictate their future. David did not let fear stop him from facing Goliath. Daniel did not let fear keep him from praying, even when it meant the lion's den. The 3 Hebrew boys did not let fear make them bow to the golden statue. Their faith activated God's power, and as a result, they saw miracles. The same principle applies to you. God is not looking for people who merely believe when things are easy. He is looking for those who trust Him even when the odds seem impossible. When you walk in faith, you release the full power of God into your life. Doors begin to open, obstacles begin to move, and circumstances shift in ways you never imagined. Faith gives you the ability to see beyond the present moment and into the future God has promised. It lifts you out of the limitations of the natural world and into the realm of divine possibilities. The more you operate in faith, the more you realize that fear has no real power over you. It was always just an illusion meant to keep you from stepping into your destiny. God has already given you everything you need, but you must activate it with faith. He is waiting for you to believe so that His power can flow through your life without resistance. The moment you release fear and choose faith, you will see His hand move in ways you never thought possible. Many people spend their lives searching for signs, waiting for confirmation before they take a step forward. They ask God for a sign to prove He is with them, for a sign to confirm their decision, for a sign to show that they are on the right path. But faith does not work that way. Faith is not about waiting for signs. Faith itself is the sign. When you walk in faith, you are already aligned with God's will. When you believe without needing external proof, you are already walking in the divine. The very fact that you trust without seeing is the evidence that you are moving in the right direction. Faith is about knowing, not seeking. It is about standing firm in the unseen, rather than looking for external validation. Those who constantly look for signs before they believe are placing their trust in circumstances rather than in God. They are saying, I will believe it when I see it, but that is the opposite of faith. Faith says, I believe it, therefore I will see it. The moment you understand that faith itself is the only sign you need, you will stop looking for proof and start walking in power. God does not ask you to wait for evidence before you trust Him. He asks you to trust Him first, and the evidence will follow. Those who seek signs often fall into doubt and hesitation. They delay their progress, waiting for something external to give them permission to move forward. But faith does not wait. Faith moves. Faith declares that what is unseen is more real than what is seen. Abraham did not wait for a sign before leaving his homeland. He trusted the voice of God and walked forward. Moses did not wait for a sign before standing before Pharaoh. He believed in the power of God and stepped into his purpose. The greatest acts of faith in history were not led by science, but by conviction. People who rely on signs become dependent on the physical world for their confidence. They look for coincidences, for external confirmation, for anything that reassures them that they are making the right choice. But this weakens their spiritual strength because it keeps them tied to what they can perceive with their natural senses. True faith does not need a sign because it knows that the promise is already fulfilled. When you believe without needing confirmation, you align yourself with the divine power that shapes reality itself. Jesus himself said, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed." This is the essence of true faith. Many people in his time demanded signs to prove he was the Messiah. Yet they missed the very presence of God in front of them. Even when he performed miracles, some still doubted because their faith was not in God, it was in external proof. When you base your belief on signs, you will always need more, and you will never have peace. But when you base your belief on faith alone, you step into a realm of unshakable confidence, where you know that God's promises are already working in your favor. Seeking signs can become a distraction, pulling you away from the real work of faith. Instead of walking boldly, you hesitate, looking for reassurance. Instead of declaring victory, you wait for proof that it is coming. This delays the manifestation of your blessings because faith is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. If you are constantly waiting for a sign, you are not walking in faith. You are walking in doubt. The moment you stop seeking signs and start believing, you will see doors open that you never thought possible. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. It is the power that brings unseen realities into existence. When you have faith, you are already holding the answer in your spirit, even before it appears in the physical world. That is why those who truly understand faith do not waste time asking for signs. They speak as if it is already done. They move as if they have already received. They trust as if the answer is already here. And because of that deep conviction, the physical world must conform to their belief. God is not withholding signs from you. He is calling you to a higher level of trust. He is asking you to believe even when nothing around you seems to support your belief. He is testing whether your faith is in Him or in the confirmation of circumstances. If you need proof before you believe, then your faith is not in God, it is in the external world. But if you believe despite the lack of proof, then you have tapped into the power that moves mountains. This is the faith that changes lives, the faith that brings miracles, the faith that creates the impossible. Those who wait for signs often miss their destiny because they are too busy looking for reassurance instead of stepping forward in confidence. The people who achieve great things in life are not those who waited for everything to be clear, but those who dared to move even when things were uncertain. Faith is about making the decision, taking the step, and trusting that everything will align because God has already gone before you. When you realize that faith itself is the only sign you need, you will no longer be a seeker, you will be a creator. The greatest breakthroughs happen when people stop waiting for signs and start believing. They act as if it is already done. They think as if the answer is already here, and they refuse to let doubt slow them down. This is what separates those who manifest their desires from those who stay stuck in hesitation. The moment you stop searching for signs and start living in faith, you will see that everything you were waiting for was already within you. God has already made a way, expand it, and don't add any ending sentence and make it lengthy in 10 paragraphs without heading and conclusion. ChatGPT said, "There is no situation you will ever face that God has not already provided a way through. Before you encountered the problem, the solution was already set in motion. Before the storm arose, the path to peace was already prepared. You may not see it yet, but that does not mean it is not there." The human mind is limited in its perception, but faith allows you to walk forward even when the way is hidden. What seems like a dead end is only an illusion, for God has already made a way where there seems to be none. Too often, people let fear consume them because they do not understand that their deliverance has already been secured. They look at their circumstances and believe they are trapped, but the truth is they are only trapped by their inability to see beyond the present moment. When the Israelites stood before the Red Sea, they saw no escape. Their enemies were behind them, the sea was before them, and their faith was tested. But God had already made a way. The waters had not parted yet, but the path was already determined. It only required their faith to activate what had already been established. God does not wait until you struggle to prepare a solution. He is ahead of you, orchestrating everything for your good. The closed doors, the setbacks, the unexpected delays, all of it is working together to position you exactly where you need to be. What appears to be an obstacle is often a redirection towards something greater. The financial difficulty, the betrayal, the moments of loneliness, these are not signs that you are abandoned, but proof that God is shifting things in your favor. He has already made a way, but you must walk in faith to reach it. Many people spend their lives worrying about how things will work out. But worry is useless when the outcome is already secured. Worry is the result of looking at life through a limited perspective, believing that you must figure everything out on your own. But faith is the awareness that what you need is already in motion. God is not scrambling to find a solution for you. He has already written your victory into the fabric of your existence. Your only responsibility is to align your thoughts and actions with the truth that He has already gone before you. When you understand that God has already made a way, you stop living in doubt and fear. You stop questioning whether you will make it and start walking with confidence, knowing that you already have everything you need. You stop second-guessing your decisions and start trusting that every step is divinely guided. The moment you shift your mindset from doubt to faith, you begin to see the path unfold before you. The opportunities, the connections, the breakthroughs. They were never missing, they were simply waiting for you to recognize them. People often look at their challenges and believe they are bigger than their faith. But no challenge can outmatch what God has already set in place. The walls of Jericho seemed impenetrable, yet they fell because the way had already been prepared. The giant before David seemed undefeatable, yet he was already destined to fall. The prison that held Paul and Silas seemed inescapable, yet the doors were already set to open. In every great story of victory, the way was made before the challenge even appeared. When you trust that God has already made a way, you move differently. You pray with expectation instead of desperation. You declare your future with certainty instead of hoping for a miracle. You refuse to be shaken by delays because you understand that timing is part of the process. Every great breakthrough requires patience, but patience is easy when you know the outcome is already decided. When you have this level of faith, you no longer feel the need to beg for answers. You walk as though the answer is already in front of you. There are moments in life when everything appears to be against you, when nothing makes sense, and when all logic says that you are out of options. But it is in those moments that you must remember the truth. God does not abandon his children. He does not bring you this far just to leave you. If the path is unclear, it is not because there is no way, but because you have not yet opened your eyes to what he has already provided. The moment you stop resisting and start trusting, the way becomes clear. Your ability to see the way is determined by your faith. Those who doubt remain blind to their own blessings, constantly searching for something that is already there. But those who trust move in certainty, knowing that provision has already been made. What if you lived your life as if the way had already been prepared? What if you faced every challenge with the conviction that the answer was already waiting for you? What if you stopped struggling and started resting in the knowledge that you are always exactly where you need to be? The greatest moments of your life will not come from striving, but from surrender. The way has already been made, and your faith is the key to unlocking it. Stop looking at your situation through the lens of limitation and start seeing it through the eyes of faith. What you need is not coming, it is already here. What you seek is not distant, it is within reach. When you truly embrace the fact that God has already made a way, you will step into a new level of peace, power, and certainty that transforms every aspect of your life.